Hello everybody, welcome back to Crypto Space. Guys, in today's video we are going to cover Kaspa's recent price action, the short term, and of course we are going to look at the overall market sentiment, and of course we are going to have a look at Kaspa's liquidity, so on and so forth. Guys, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. My name is Luke, and remember that this video is not financial advice. And now let's have a look at the bubbles themselves. So guys, if it comes to the bubbles, we do experience a little bit of a recovery due to the fact of what BTC did recently. Looking at the weekly, we still are, well, nowhere near we were before, and on a monthly, this is what's going on, guys, right? Everything that we have gained in the last, let's say, 2 months, I believe, or so, even less, was pretty much almost erased. Okay, now looking at Kaspa's overall dashboard, we are sitting at 2.3 billion USD, so nothing really has changed ever since yesterday, and volume is sitting at 60.2 million USD. We are sitting at 89.4% mined if it comes to Kaspa, and that's about it. Now guys, a couple of photos from the recent meetup that happened in France. So that's basically for people that are thinking that nothing is happening for Kaspa. Well, obviously these photos are showing something else, right? Of course, the price of Kaspa is doing nothing at the moment, but you know, if we are going to look at overall market, well, nothing's really happening, right? However, Ryan has noticed that Kaspa team is working on smart contracts now, and a couple of days ago it was just showing planning. Interesting how far we are to final stage of smart contracts. Guys, I think that this is definitely a bullish news for Kaspa. Of course, you know, it's nothing confirmed, but obviously that change from planning in development, that obviously means that we are kind of one step ahead, let's say. And now let's go through, let's say, a bullish Kaspa chart. Okay, and again, I don't want to tell you guys that this is what's going to happen for Kaspa, because of course these are just predictions, right? But based on New Thought crypto account, well, Kaspa could pump towards the upside soon, right? But of course that will have to be under condition that BTC and overall market is going to look healthy, but we are going to get into that. So this projection is super speculative, as I just said, and it assumes an immediate bullish breakout for Bitcoin and relies on volume profile, Fibonacci, and support and resistance levels. Invalidation price 0.0076 for Kaspa, and the top would be around 36. Well, let's actually first of all get towards previous all-time highs for Kaspa, and then we are going to talk about 36 cents. Nonetheless, guys, now something that you probably have seen in the thumbnail, I'm not entirely sure what is going to be the thumbnail yet. Nonetheless, guys, Mr. Thomas posted this. This is a very long post, okay? So I'm going to try to read a little bit because I know that your attention span is basically very, very short. Quantitative easing will commence within the next 14 days. This is a very bullish claim to have, but anyways, the US government will soon begin a drawdown of the Treasury General Account, TGA. This could mean a liquidity injection totaling up of $830 billion. Guys, that's a lot of money, and I'm not talking about obviously Kaspa. This is, you know, injection towards the financial markets, right? So this could mean a liquidity injection, blah blah. Okay, I just read that. Functionally, this is similar to quantitative easing. This is not quantitative easing, guys, right? So imagine if that would come into fruition, and quantitative easing as well, right? So what's going on? The US government hit its self-imposed debt ceiling of 36 trillion in late January. This means the Treasury can no longer take on additional debt until a new debt ceiling agreement is reached. This has historically involved raising or suspending the ceiling. The Treasury has since been deploying emergency measures, a total of roughly $338 billion in what are essentially accounting gimmicks and financial maneuvers. On Friday, February 7th, the government had used up more than 60% of these measures, with only $133 billion left. That means probably this coming week or the week later after, the Treasury will be forced into drawing down the TGA to fund spending until a new debt ceiling agreement is reached. Okay, so that's about it, guys. I don't want to bore you. Okay, I'm going to leave the link of this post because as I'm scrolling, you can clearly see how long this post is. Okay, so go through it and read it. Okay, if that injection is going to come into fruition, I believe that's going to fuel the markets until we are going to experience the quantitative easing, and that potentially could be finally our altcoin season. Okay, but of course I've got different data, okay, because we've got Mr. Prof that's pointing this chart out. This is Bitcoin's dominance on a 2 daily. He says that RSI looks toppy, stochastic RSI looks toppy, trend line touched, altcoin season index retests its breakout, fear and greed index fear. In fact, all the ingredients that point to a bottom for altcoins, which essentially means that we could see recovery soon. Hopefully, guys, right? Of course, I am not telling you that this is going to happen, but based on these technicals and what I've just read to you, well, let's give us a little bit of hopium based on these datas, right? And now something that is also very important, I don't really mention about it on the channel. Jason Pisano is actually mentioning about it very often. I hope that you are actually following him. He's got some good TAs and good alpha, but this is what the politicians don't want you to know, by Mr. Fred. This is the 18-year real estate cycle, which obviously is also driving that liquidity into the markets, right? Of course, after that, we are going to see, you know, major recession and all of this, right? But I do believe that we still have upside for financial markets, well, I mean, crypto. Now, guys, moving on. Actually, speaking about Jason Pisano, I've got his post, right? He's saying that Bitcoin and the USDT dominance, the good news first. We are 19% away from bull market mania. The bad news is that we are closer to extreme fear, washout, just 15% away. 0.52% would not be good for the crypto bulls. So, in essence, the market doesn't know what it wants next, but it's slightly closer to a washout than a mania pump. That's a good thing. More time to reset the sentiment. Well, it depends, right? Because if you do have lots of leverage longs or shorts, whatever, if you are trading with leverage, that could potentially be well, a little bit shaky, right? Nonetheless, guys, if you hold spot like I do, at least at the time of recording this video and this cycle, I believe, well, I don't really care that much. Of course, it hurts when I see my portfolio going up and down, especially when I didn't take as much as profits as I should. Nonetheless, guys, I do believe that we still do have an upside, right? Because even if that USDT dominance is going to go towards the upside, I believe that we are going to see, well, this thing going towards the downside at some point. And actually, speaking about USDT, right, I forgot to talk about Kaspa short term. So, guys, let's actually cover it, right? Regarding the previous update, I hope I'm wrong, actually, right? Because, well, at the moment, the price of Kaspa is going towards the upside. So, ever since yesterday, let's actually have a look of how much we have printed in terms of gains, right? Today is 10th and yesterday was what, 9th, right? So let's have a look. So ever since yesterday, Kaspa pumped 5%, but of course that's obviously due to the fact of what has happened yesterday with BTC. Now, looking at the daily time frame, guys, daily time frame is showing us that potentially we could see some bullish divergence, right? Based on looking at RSI, and also MACD is showing us that this volume is weakening in here, and potentially it can go towards this side. Well, again, I don't want to sound like I'm giving you hopium, guys, right? But based on these two momentum technicals, I believe that we can, you know, be a little bit of more positive, and of course, based on the data that I have just read to you, right? And now, speaking about you know, what Jason Pisano actually said, let's actually have a look at USDT dominance, right? Because I've got my bear flag in here, which is actually coming into fruition, at least at the time of recording this video, of course, right? So we do have rejection from this level of a top trading range of the overall flag, and also we got another area of confluence, which is stochastic RSI in overheated level, and of course we've got MACD that is actually going towards the downside. Let me actually just move it a little bit so you guys can clearly see it more clear, right? So it's kind of like flattening, and the volume is also becoming weaker, right? So potentially we could see some downward momentum for USDT dominance, which can of course result in downward momentum, right? However, we have to remember about the fact that weekly is still showing us that we are on a top, right? And kind of concerning thing is that MACD is showing us a bullish momentum, right? Of course, that could be you know, changed in an instant, right? And also we have to remember about the fact that since we are here on a weekly time frame, there's not a lot of room, you know, left based on the historical data that that RSI can go much further, right? Even if it's going to pump a little bit on a weekly and we see more pain, more shakiness and sideways price action for overall market, not only Kaspa, I think that at some point this, you know, shit should drop, right? Now, monthly time frame, okay? This is something that I'm afraid of, right? Because obviously that is jumping towards the upside, I mean stochastic RSI, but it did in the past as well, right? And then it dumped properly, right? So that can obviously change in an instant. And I believe that if what I've just read to you about US Treasury will come into fruition, that could be a positive sign. Also, another thing that we have to pay attention to is obviously dollar index, which is in overheated area on a monthly. However, concerning thing is that weekly is doing such thing. However, MACD is actually going towards the downside, right? And we are creating lower lows, let's say. So let's see how that is going to play out. At the moment, everything is looking quite all right. Now, let's quickly have a look at fear and greed index, which is actually at number 43. Well, feels neutral, right? Many people actually have exited the market, right? Many newcomers that came before obviously are not interested into crypto anymore, but I believe that they will in foreseeable future. Anyways, we've got more longs rather than shorts based on the recent price action for BTC, right? These traders basically saw the price of BTC going towards the upside and then they have pressed long, right? Which I believe a little bit too late, but of course they might gonna win these trades. Let's have a look at heat map. So heat map is showing us such scenario, guys, right? We've got rejected from this level of a resistance, right? However, this liquidity in here is very, very juicy for market makers to actually push the price of BTC towards at least of 98,193 and then potentially go towards the downside. Okay, so expect volatility, guys. To me at least, it kind of gives me more confidence that the price of BTC is going to break towards 98 and after that we will see another drop until the market is going to calm down a little bit if it comes to well, until Trump is going to calm down with these tariffs, right? Because obviously that spooked the market and of course market hates uncertainty. Now guys, let's have a look at Kaspa. I know that this is something that you are waiting for, but of course we have to remember that Kaspa and other altcoins are also driven by overall situation on the market. So Binance, right? What can happen? What I see on short time frame, this is 24 hourly, right? On Binance at least, but of course these guys have a lot of liquidity. So what I believe might gonna happen for Kaspa is that we are going to see 9 cents 20 and then potentially drop towards the downside and grab this liquidity. Again, in my personal humble opinion, of course I could be wrong, Kaspa is in desperate search of liquidity since, you know, this overall market is kind of driven by liquidity, right? Now let's have a look at the weekly time frame and we are going to conclude, right? So guys, as you see, right, even if we are going to go towards the upside on a daily time frame and let's say collect these levels at 9 cents too, then in my opinion Kaspa is going to come back to 8 cents. I don't want to say it, but it's definitely possible, and I don't believe that Kaspa is going to basically find a lot of liquidity and upside to go there, right? This liquidity is going to have to be collected, of course, unless altcoin season is going to kick in within 1 week. Okay guys, I hope that this update helps, and as always, peace and love crypto.